Susanna has been called all sorts of things in the course of Methodist history, if you like, the immortal mother, the mother of the Wesleys, the mother of Methodism. She was undoubtedly a remarkable woman. I mean, thankfully the family did write copious letters one to another, and that gives us so much rich evidence about how they related, what they thought of each other. Now, Susanna took it upon herself, really, to educate the children, to bring them up in their faith. I mean, obviously Samuel had an important role in all of that, but Susanna never shirked from her responsibilities, and she saw almost her reason for being on this earth was to bring these children up as well as she possibly could. She developed a sort of what we now call like a home school, really, around her kitchen table. And all the children, from the time they could speak, were put to their lessons in the kitchen. Even the girls. Now, at that time, in the early 18th century, girls didn't really have an education like that. They were taught to sew and to be good wives and mothers. From the minute they could speak, they were taught their alphabet and expected to learn it within a day. She thought they were, two of them spent a day and a half, and she thought they were terribly slow and backward to be doing that. So she had quite high standards, and she would sit them all down around the table and teach them their letters, but also teach them their faith, teach them rudimentary geography and history. I mean, it was quite a wide sort of curriculum that she developed. They were required to say certain prayers, to recite the Lord's Prayer as soon as they were able to pray for their parents, to pray for their siblings, to pray for the household. And then when they were a bit older, they would read scripture before they came downstairs, even for breakfast. And the older ones would help the younger ones. And there was a real sort of method, really. That word method and discipline is vital to this whole story. She would also take an hour every day for her own personal devotions, and the family knew they were not to disturb her. So she taught them the importance, by example, if you like, of their own devotional life, of praying and of reading scripture, and of actually trying to think through their theology. She also wrote quite a lot of sort of theological ideas down in letter form, particularly for John and Charles, and for others of the family as well. I mean, she was quite a woman, really well ahead of her time. We could argue that Methodism began here in this house, because I think the influence of that methodical upbringing did actually, influence John quite significantly in his life.